Hello, it's December 8th, 2022, and this is the weekly Backdrop Developer Meeting. We get together every week to talk about priorities and happenings on the development side of Backdrop CMS. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the internet. I'm core committer and technical lead for the project, and I'm joined by Luke McCormick and Tim Erickson today. I think we'll skip the intros with the usual suspects and such a small group today, and we'll just dive right in. I forgot to build the list of community contributions. Tim, if you could take a look at that, we'll come back to it maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's see. So this week, big news this week is that Backdrop 123.1 was released. Let's see, that was on Friday of this week or last week, 6 days ago. And so 123.1 includes a big swath of fixes. Let's see exactly how many issues that was. 33 issues, UI fixes or UX fixes, bugs, some more PHP 8.1 compatibility fixes, a whole swath of all kinds of great changes since it's been a long time since the release of 123. So highly encourage people to download that and get their sites updated. Let's see, the peripheral tasks around that are also still wrapping up, it looks like. We've got, let's see, Tugboat has been updated, Docker has been updated, Wikipedia is updated. Wilbur, thank you for doing the work on a lot of those updates. It looks like Pantheon is held up by an access issue, and so we'll get that sorted so that Wilbur can complete that portion of things since he's already started it. So if it's not if you're using Pantheon in the upstream, that'll be available shortly, hopefully. Okay, so that was fantastic to get that release out. The number of issues that we now have remaining in the prioritized bug fix queue are much shorter. So now with this week's release having completed 33 issues, there's only 29 left remaining in the 123.2 milestone. So there's always more. There's always more bugs to be fixed. But it's great to see that these ones have been coming in and got released and pushed out. Let's see. 124 is the next minor release of Backdrop. And overall, it's a pretty light release. Something that happened this week is that the back to site button also was committed. And so that's a new feature that will be in 124 that has been completed. So this is a functionality that makes it so that if you prefer, instead of having a home button in the admin bar, there is now an option to replace it with back to site, which takes you back to the page from which you entered the administrative area. So if you go to edit a node or comment or something like that, and it takes you into the admin interface or edit a view, and you decide to cancel that and you want to go back to where you came from, you can use the admin toolbar now to get back to where you had been when you entered the admin pages. So that's a nice new feature. Let me see who is to thank for that. Justin Kaiser looks like he was the leader, and Alex Finarn, who started that work many months ago. So big thanks to the two of you and the other 10 people that were also involved making that feature happen.
Pretty sure that was Justin's first PR. So Decor. So
yeah, that is a big deal. All right, let's see, other 124 issues. I think that the add alt and title fields to the image file type is still like a really good one, but we haven't seen any activity on that issue. It's issue 4007 in the last month. We got this really excellent summary of what needs to be done by Martin, our Yorkshire pudding. But now, we need a developer to actually pick up that work. I picked up a small issue today, or yesterday actually. It's a really simple concept. It's issue 5748, and there's only one person. Gregory said that we should have this Klonos, and I picked up this ticket because I thought that it was something that needs to happen. 4748 is just simply allowing user roles to have descriptions, so you can say what the user role does. And I yeah, small thing, right? Because I find when setting up sites, I very often set up user roles in one of two ways. Sometimes user roles are additive, and sometimes they're intended to be used exclusively. And so sometimes there's like the difference between like an editor and a publisher. For example, an editor might be able to edit existing content, and a publisher might be able to publish and create new content, something like that. And sometimes I give all of the permissions to publisher, and sometimes I give only the new permissions to publisher, and I give all of the edit access to the editor, and you have to be assigned both roles. And it's always ambiguous which way that is, and the only way I know which way I set it up is to go and look at the actual permissions list. So it'd be nice if just looking at the list of roles, if it gave us a little summary about why that user role, or what that user role generally is for. And sometimes there's other things that are more ambiguous. I don't think I need to explain it further. I think we all can agree that descriptions on user roles would be a good thing.
It's fantastic. Like you just said that. I'm thinking like, oh my God, why hasn't that existed for 15 years?
It's a strange thing. There's when you edit a user role, there's only one thing you could change, and it's the label. And it's just like, we have a whole form for editing a user role, and there's only one field on it. And there should be two fields. Yeah. This fits into my small list of like minor annoyances that I'd also like to get fixed. The other one is building in, I can't quite remember what it's called, but like the text format per field functionality, where you should be able to say on every long form text area, you should be able to configure it to have only certain text formats.
Or at least default to a text format, right?
Or the default does work. That you can set it. Yeah, that's an issue that had come up in Backdrop previously, and that does work. That when you save, because you set the default value, and even if it's an empty string for the default value, the value you set for the text format is remembered. And when you create a new piece of content of that type, it will use the default that is there. So that's there. But unfortunately,
but you can't disable text formats that are completely ridiculous for a particular field.
Yeah. And what I really like to do with text formats is that I usually have at least two: one that is a small amount of buttons and one that is a large amount of buttons. And I use the one for small amount of buttons that doesn't have tables or lists, or sometimes not even the styles dropdown or different styles dropdown, because it's made to be used for like the excerpt, or something like that, where it's like you're only going to type like a sentence in here, versus long form content. You want to have the embeds and the images and all of that stuff. And so I like to make it so that my fields don't show the text format select list, that the appropriate text format for that field is selected, and then the whole select list disappears, and there's no choice about which text format to use. That's the way I prefer to make my fields. But I think I haven't done that actually in Backdrop recently. I know that there's a module that allows you to I can't quite remember, like sets the order or something like that. I don't think that we have exactly what I'm thinking of for Backdrop available. So this may be a a new feature with potentially no upgrade path, but it would probably replace the one similar module that we have right now available for Backdrop. I'd have to look it up which one we have. I know Peter made it, BW Panda.
So is there an issue for that one?
Yes, there is an issue for that one, but it's not in the 124 milestone because I want to do the user role permissions first. And
What's the issue number for that? That's actually what I was looking for.
5748. I'll find the other one too. It's not immediately coming up. Here we go. 2615 is the allow text format per field instance or per content type. Looks like there's actually already a pull request for this one. I didn't even realize that. And it was BW Panda who made the pull request. So this was filed in September of 2019, actually.
What was the issue number for that again? The issue number.
2615. Yeah, so let's okay, yeah, 2615. I feel like I want to put this into a candidate here. Uh-huh. To complete. Yeah, any thoughts on those issues while I'm posting a comment?
I think I support them both. There's no specific feedback without, I mean, the first one I think is pretty straightforward and easy. This second one has a little more discussion that I should look through, see if there's any.
The UI isn't obvious for the second one. Yeah.
Mhm.
The first one, the user roles descriptions, you're just like, why hasn't that been in there like since day one?
Nobody thought of it apparently because Gregory posted that comment a couple of years ago, and
Yeah.
there's just no other discussion. Maybe because none is necessary, but it is just funny that. Yeah, I actually went. It's cross-linked to the Drupal issue,
I see,
and
yeah.
that's bumped to Drupal 10.1 or something like that, and I can't fathom why it's taking a decade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would hope that once somebody takes a crack at it, that it would go pretty quickly. There's apparently some contrib modules, a contrib module that already provides that functionality, which hopefully that means we'll just lift the UI directly out of it because it's probably meeting people's expectations. Somebody already thought about this and made a module, and we just have to do what they did in core.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so issue 2615, I put that into the milestone candidate tag or label and posted a comment there saying I'd like to take a look at that one too. The final one that was like the kind of gotcha that really bothered me on my Backdrop project that I completed last month was much more ambitious, and that is the allow settings for non-fields, like for things that are defined via hook field extra fields, and allows you to move them up and down on the display output. It would be really nice to be able to have settings there that save on a per content type basis to make it so that you could do things like have the title field be there and move it up and down and have settings for it. The title field itself is probably a separate issue that, whether or not you want to display the title in a particular display mode or not. I think I've talked about this before, but I'll repeat it. That's my imagined idea for what we should do with the title field is that, first of all, the settings should definitely be removed from the content type general settings. So admin structure types, edit the page post. It shouldn't be on that particular or page content type. It shouldn't be on that form. It should be on the display tab under managing a display mode. And what I imagine is that we do the same thing that we do for the page title within layouts, which is up at the top, not in the draggable table. There's title settings, and you click there, it opens up a dialog, asks you, how would you like the title to work? And you say output at the top of the page or output as a field. And then if you say output as a field and close that, then the title field appears as a draggable row that you can then move up and down. And if you don't have it as a draggable field, then you edit it separately, like in a dialog, if there's other settings to be had there, like the label for the title field. So that's what I'm imagining. It's a little bit vague at the moment, but but that's what I'd like to see.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the issues that two of them are fairly straightforward. The the non-field settings is a bigger one, and then the page title handling that specifically is a bigger one yet. So let's see. Go ahead,
Jen last week mentioned field group functionality in core is something that might be possible, that we might be fairly close on. It just needs some more eyes on it. But I think we need to get the PR updated. I don't think we have a sandbox for it. And we need somebody to sort of outline like what to sort of be testing for or looking at, I guess. So Olaf was asking for guidance, like, here, I'd like to help test this, but what should I be testing and looking for?
Yeah, that is
647.
647. Is that not in the 124 milestone?
I don't know. Jen is still listed as an advocate for it, so it probably should be.
Yeah, it's not in the milestone for some reason.
Okay. It might have gotten removed just because there wasn't making any progress on it, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's only a small number of issues that are in the 124 milestone. And just doing a timeline check on that, we have effectively 3 weeks before the feature freeze. So that's not a lot of time to get much of anything done. It's pretty unlikely that we'll see any major feature into 124, I think, at this point.
Right. Anything as big as like field group functionality, maybe it would be hard. I think there's some little ones, the ones that you're talking about. I'm thinking about looking at this default styles for CK Editor, but which if I came up with a PR soon, it would probably be simple enough that it might happen, but I don't know if I'll get to it or not.
Yeah. Let's just run down a rabbit hole real quick about CK Editor and its general state of things.
Sure.
That on my non-Backdrop projects, the state of CK Editor and its functionality within Drupal is still pretty weak. Even on new projects starting today that aren't supposed to launch for several months, we're still choosing CK Editor 4 as the editor that we're using on new projects, even if they're launching a while from now. And that kind of is a testament to the state of CK Editor 5 within Drupal, that it's difficult to get the functionality that we want. And that includes things like link it. Of course, Backdrop has something like link it in core that when you open the link dialog, you can link to various things, views, nodes, etc., with an autocomplete. And the link functionality in CK Editor 5 doesn't open a dialog anymore. It tries to do it in line with a very simple Jira or Google, like what do they call it, like a tooltip or
Mhm.
the little thing that doesn't pop up in a whole modal.
Sure.
And yeah, the list of plugins that are available and the media handling, all of it is not really there yet. I find that interesting because of CK Editors or CK Source, the company that does CK Editor, has a very tight relationship with Drupal. And
Mhm.
the longer that this takes to make CK Editor 5 the default, I believe will effectively impact the end of life of CK Editor 4. So as long as CK Editor 5 is not the default for new sites, CK Editor 4 will definitely keep living. I think a long life. And I remember when CK Editor 5, they started working on it and they're like, we're going to refactor everything. Like we're throwing out the whole code base and starting over, more or less. And a lot of people referred to that as, they're like, well, good luck with your D8 release cycle. You know, like CK Editor 4 is kind of like the Drupal 7 for them, where it's like
Right.
the final mature version before complete paradigm shift that is the CK Editor 5 version. And kind of like Drupal 7, they're finding that their old, very mature platform is a difficult thing to kill because there's so many people using it and it's such a mature ecosystem, and the uptick or uptake on CK Editor 5 isn't as quick as they had hoped. So there still seems like we're getting a longer and longer reprieve on that. I think we're not nearly as far along in our development of CK Editor 5 module for Backdrop. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like there's an urgency to get off CK Editor 4 at this juncture because its life just keeps going, it seems.
Okay, that's helpful. I've wondered about that, and I don't really understand what's going to happen and what and how that's going to move forward. So just to be clear, Drupal 10 is coming out next week, right? Or this week, even next week. And are they just including CK Editor 5 as a backup? Is it not? I thought CK Editor 5 was going to be in Drupal 10.
Yeah, it's already in Drupal 9 even, but it's an
okay.
experimental module, and it's not the default as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
But yeah, I could be wrong about that aspect. Maybe it is the default, but
well, if it becomes the default, then your issue about us having to start to worry might be happening, right?
Yeah, totally. Okay. I don't have other. Oh, did we get the list of contrib modules?
Yeah. So I think there was one released last Thursday, so I don't know if it was before or after our meeting. It was the quote module by Alan Mells. Everything else, I think, so that's the only module in the last week. This is a little module. Is this a CK Editor module, or I think it might be? It adds a quote link below nodes and comments. So take a look at it.
That sounds like it takes the quote and puts it into the content of another comment.
Yes, actually, I think yes. I think that's probably correct. And that's it. And I'll mention again that I think we talked about this last week, but we crossed 1,000 projects. Yeah, we talked about that last week. So we're up in the low 1,000s now of contrib projects or of projects on GitHub. That's it.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to discuss today?
I could mention that there's been a little bit of infrastructure activity this week, meaning just working on getting some folks to work on our core sites, backdropcms.org, the forum site, the documentation site, and the event site. If anybody's interested, there's a blog post on backdropcms.org that kind of describes what's going on and points you at some resources. help out there. And you can watch the last, we did our community meeting right before this, which was recorded and it's on YouTube, was all about those 4 sites.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's adjourn for today.
Sure.
Next meeting is a week from today, of course, as always. And so thank you everybody out there that watches these videos, and we'll catch you.